Before creating your panel for the social media comic, you'll need to utilize the random number given to you in order to fulfill your challenge. For this video, let's talk about what it means to have the number 5. Each of these random numbers 1 through 6 represent different degrees of panel-to-panel transitions, 1 being the most subtle of these changes and 6 being the most extreme. The 6 transition numbers used in the SMC directly reference the 6 degrees of panel-to-panel transitions Scott McCloud discusses in his graphic novel Understanding Comics, in which he discussed that the 5th panel-to-panel transition represents a change of aspect to aspect. This means that between the last panel to yours, the imagery completely changes while still depicting a common theme or idea. This is a tricky transition to understand, so let's try and clarify this before moving on. If the last panel relates to a theme that can be visually depicted like sports, for example, then a transition of aspect to aspect could mean that the next panel shows us an image of a referee or a cheerleader. These images would relate to the last panel in terms of content, but not in terms of story. Focus on making a panel that shows an idea that is expressed in the last panel. This could be referencing something said by a character or referencing the actual scene itself. If the story in the last panel takes place on an island, you could create an image of a sandcastle or a bottle floating in the sea. Just focus on the idea and try to forget about the story. That is, unless you have a good idea about how your panel could be important for someone else down the line. If you're concerned about not evolving the story of the comic during your panel, why not add a narration box to your panel allowing a character from a past panel to speak in yours? This would be similar to how a movie can show us different scenes or views while we keep hearing the characters communicate or narrate. Utilize this abrupt change to make the story slow down and focus on the ideas being presented. Though challenging, there are a lot of very clever ways to use this transition to your benefit. It's important to note that an aspect-to-aspect transition can help get the comic back on track again after a seemingly irrelevant panel has been thrown into the mix. Can you use your scene transition to make sense of a completely random past panel? What aspects of the scene are interesting, shocking, or funny to you? Is there some way to use this transition without accidentally throwing the comic completely off course? It's all up to you. Also, don't feel intimidated or persuaded to illustrate your panel in a particular way, especially if you are new to drawing. Just because the person behind you made an incredible digital painting doesn't mean that you have to follow it up by mimicking their style. If the panel before you is as simple as a stick figure, don't feel limited to creating simple art. Utilize your best skills to create your panel change to the best of your ability. The readers will understand the transition you're making, no matter the art style. How do you see the comic unfolding after jumping to a new aspect? For more information about this panel transition, check out Scott McCloud's work in the links below. Once you've finished your panel, head on over to the final video by clicking the annotation here, or save it for later with the link in the description. That's all for now. Good luck on your panel. See you!